All right, so the green formula chart, the yellow formula chart or flow chart, and the pink summary sheet, those formula charts will be provided on the final exam. Okay, but for you to practice, you need to reference them for this section, because all of this section is area. So you have to know the shape and then apply the formula correctly. So the part of the formula chart is this part where it has circumference and area. We just need the top half for this section. The last section is volume and surface area, which is what we just tested on. Okay, so we should be familiar with that already. Okay, so this first shape here is a rectangle. Oops, I'll do that. Go here. So we should be doing A equals BH, or A equals base times height, which is the same thing as length times width. Hopefully we recognize that our base is here, this horizontal line. It would be the same as what's on the top. So does anyone recognize what you're going to have to do to find that base? Yep, you're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. When you substitute, it should be 10 squared plus the x squared equals 26 squared. Okay, and then you need to solve for that x, which is your b. Yeah, comes out to. So then we have our base is 24, right? Yeah. All right, so then when you substitute into the formula, you're just going to do parentheses 24, parentheses the height, which we already see is 10. So we get 240 units squared. Are we okay on that? All right, then for 47, it is a square. So you're using base times height again. We have to remember in a square, your diagonals create the 45, 45, 90 triangle. So you do need to use that rule. So if that means you have to go back to your flow chart, which was here. This had the 45, 45, 90. We have the hypotenuse, so we're trying to get the leg. So it says right here to divide by root 2. Yeah, when you simplify it, yep, that's exactly what it comes out to be. When you divide, you basically remember we can't have a radical at the bottom, so you rationalize it. Yeah, so this comes out to be 5 root 2. Here would be your leg and your height, your base and your height. No, you're multiplying them together. We're substituting this for the base and the height. I say use parentheses to show substitution because I will make sure I do it correctly in the calculator. That's what you should put in the calculator. Parentheses 5 root 2, parentheses 5 root 2. You should get a whole number answer. So on 48, you have a parallelogram. Okay. So you have to use base times height again.
Mode change the answer.
Yeah. Mode only affects trig. Unless, no, because it comes out the whole number answer, but unless your decimals are being rounded, but there's no such thing on that one. So, all right, so on here, the base is the 13, but you have to also recognize that there is a 30, 60, 90 triangle with that 60 right there. So you have to see your short leg and your height is the long leg. So what part do you have in the 30, 60, 90? The hypotenuse. So what do you do from the hypotenuse?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. That gives you the short leg. So you're going to use your rules for the 30, 60, 90 to find that height. It is a radical answer, which means the area would be a radical answer. Now in 40, they're showing you an equilateral triangle. So we are trying to find the area of that triangle by doing base times height divided by 2. So the height is not drawn, so you will need to draw the perpendicular bisector or the altitude or your height, and that would create a 30, 60, 90 triangle. So you're going to use your 30, 60, 90 rules. Hopefully you see that the 6 is the hypotenuse, which means the short leg would be 3. It's half. So your height is 3 root 3. My base is the whole bottom. So when I substitute it in the formula, I'm doing 6 for the base, and then I'm using the 3 root 3 for the height. I'm going to multiply them together and then take half of my answer. When I'm multiplying, I'm just multiplying the 6 and the 3 together, which is 18. And then take half of that. So what is the final radical answer here? Yep. The area would turn into 9 root 3 units squared. Now 50 is similar to 48, but there's one minor difference. You're missing something, yeah. You're missing the base. We don't have this whole length. Sorry. My pen just went out. There it goes. Okay, now I can get my short leg because this would be 2, and my height would be 2 root 3. That doesn't look very good. So to find the base, I would need to draw another height, creating a square here. Do y'all see that?
Yes.
So when I do that, this piece is 2, and this piece is 2 root 3. So that means the whole base together, no, it's just 2 root 3 plus 2. And I'm going to move that to this other side. Can we add these together? No, why not? One, exactly. One has a radical, one does not. They both have to be radicands in order to add them. But you can still plug it into the formula. You're just going to have to distribute and then simplify. Now, on 51, hopefully you recognize this shape. What is the shape on 51? Yep, it is a trapezoid. The parts to a trapezoid are your 2 bases, the top and bottom, and your height. That's what you need for the area. So the formula of a trapezoid is 1/2 h, 1/2 times h times the sum of the bases. So the thing you have to use here is the fact that if I create another height over here, like such, do you see now we have 2 right triangles, 2 45, 45? Okay, so when I do that, there's a rectangle on the top here. That's 6, which means that 6 will be the same length here. And the total base is 14. So I can figure these 2 missing pieces that are part of the leg. How would you find the missing leg in the right triangle?
14 minus 6 divided by 2.
Yeah, 14 minus 6 divided by 2. So each piece comes out to be 4. Because that's 8, and half of 8 is 4. So if that's 4, then your height is also 4. Because the legs are the same. So now you have everything. You have the base 1, you have the base 2, you have the height. Because the legs and a 45, yeah, are the same. All right, for shaded region, you have to remember you will subtract the two shapes. So to find the shaded region, you take the area of the square minus the area of the circle. The formula for the square is base times height minus the formula area for the circle is pi r squared. So the part we need is the r. And it is 6, exactly. Okay. So you can leave it in terms of pi, or you can have the decimal answer. And then on 53, 53 is like 51, but now we're using a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay. Now, when we get to the next page, now we're going to have some composite or some shaded regions and some regular polygons. So on this first one, because this is the area of the shaded, I just want to make sure y'all understand, that the shaded is like that, the triangle with the dots in the middle. That's trying to show shaded. Our formula for area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Most people are missing this because they don't recognize which part is the base to the shaded triangle. What would represent the B? Yeah, the 15 is the B. The height is the 8. So you should only be using 15 times 8 divided by 2. Now, when you get to 55, you have a regular hexagon. So you have to use the formula 1/2 AP. So to recap, when I'm talking about the A, that represents the bottom. So that goes from the center to the edge of the polygon. And when it does that, it bisects it. So each piece would end up being 5 and 5. Now, to get the measure of that apothem, we need to draw the radius and understand that radius is going to be 10. By doing that, I see I have a 30, my writing is bad, 60, 90, 10, half of 10 is 5, so that means my apothem, my A, would be 5√3. So when I plug it into my formula, I'm going to do parentheses for the A, 5√3. And then I need to find my perimeter of the whole hexagon.
You do 10 times the number of sides.
Yeah, 10 times the number of sides. We have 6 sides, so this comes up to be 60. So parentheses 60. Now, if I want to just simplify this, I can't really, half of 5 will give me a decimal, but I could do half of 60. That's 30. And then I'm multiplying that by 5√3. So I'm really just multiplying the 30 and the 5 and keeping my radical in my answer. So this area comes out to be 150√3 unit squared. Okay. Now for the shaded region on 56, okay, to get to that shaded region, you're going to have to do the area of the rectangle minus the area of the circle, because the two halves make one whole circle. So to find the area of the rectangle, that's when we're doing base times height, which we have. It looks like 3.5 centimeters.
Yeah.
And by 1.75 centimeters, yeah. And then you have to do pi r squared. So they gave you the diameter. So what would you do to get the radius? Divided by 2. So what's 1.5 divided by 2? 0.75. There we go. Now in 57, they want the area of the total kite, which is 2 trapezoids. It told us that we have 2 congruent trapezoids. So you're going to find the area of one trapezoid first. So this is what we're going to do first. Then second thing, after we find that area, we're going to double the answer. Double the area to get the answer. Because there's 2 trapezoids. There's a trapezoid here and there. Add them together will give you the whole.
So the top of the other trapezoid equal.
It'll be 12 as well. All right, now when you get to 58 through 61, you have to take the given information because they're talking about circumference is what we're finding. If we have an area of 16 pi, so circumference is the formula 2 pi r. Area is the formula pi r squared. They're telling us it is 16, sorry. Oops, I need to move that. What happened? There it goes, sorry. So that 16 pi gets substituted in for the a, and then we're going to solve for the r. So you can think about it mentally, thinking about what does my radius have to be, so my answer is 16 pi. There we go. So now that you have the radius, you can plug it in to get the circumference. Some people like actually did the division, dividing by pi, to get the r squared. That's right there. And then taking the square root of 16 gave you 4. So you can do it mentally or algebraically. So this is the same setup for 60. So now we're trying to find the area of the circle when given the circumference. So since I know the circumference is 10 pi, yep, you divide it by 2. So the radius would be what? 5, there we go. And now you can find the area. Yes. So that's the same concept or setup or working backwards for this section 58 through 61 all the way to 62. Because once you get to 63, it's surface area and volume. That's the last section. So I do want to talk about 62 because you kind of have to work backwards because they're telling you that we have a trapezoid with a total area of 52 square inches. They want us to find the length of FJ. Okay, so we need to start off with our formula, which is 1/2 times h, the height, times the sum of the bases. Because I know that the area is 52 squares, I can plug that in for a and set up my equation as 52 equals 1/2 the height of the trapezoid. Do y'all recognize which part represents the height? Yep, this is our height right here. So 8 times the sum of the bases. We have 5 plus, and we're missing the bottom base. So 5 plus x. Got the top base, base 1. We don't have base 2. Now, you can simplify taking half of 8. So that would give us 52 equals 4. Half of 8 is 4, then times that by 5 plus x. We're trying to solve for x. So there's more than one way to do this. How would you like to solve for x?
Could we distribute 4?
Yep, you can distribute the 4. So I'm just going to rewrite it up here. We get 52 equals 20 plus 4x. Now what?
U minus the 20. Minus the 20 from 52.
Mm-hmm. And we get what?
And then you get 32.
Equal 4. Divide that by 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then
So this whole base here is 8. But we knew that this piece, the top base, was 5 right there. So that remaining piece in the triangle is 3. Right? So if I'm trying to find the FJ, the FJ represents the hypotenuse in the right triangle. We have an 8 leg, a 3 leg, and then C is the hypotenuse. So we're doing A squared plus, 8 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. And then now you have the setup to find the hypotenuse, FJ. So I'm stamping this section. Well, actually, first I'm going to stamp the previous section, which ended with, I think, 45. Yeah, right here. I'll stamp that. And then if I had some students already like show me the next section, like they finished all the area problems before they left, so I went ahead and stamped that one as well. And I just checked my stamp colors. I know if it was early, do extra points for those stamps. If you still need to finish test corrections, I don't have it. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. You can work on that as well. When you're done, just staple everything together and put it in the tray. So you have a choice. You can work on your test corrections or you can work on the next section.